Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Microsoft Pulse. Today we have with us Tom Duff, Adam Ochs, and Tamara Bredemus. That's me. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over the Microsoft roadmap. We're going to find out what's new, what's changed, and how it's going to affect you. Now, the roadmap is divided up into four different parts. It's divided up into in development, meaning Microsoft is working on the feature. Rolling out, meaning some tenants have it, especially if you have early preview set. And then launched, meaning everybody within that feature release should have it. And canceled. Now, we don't have anything canceled this week, so that leaves us with three of the groupings beforehand. So let's dive right into in development. And Tom, why don't you get us started?
Sure. So if you are into Outlook PST files, you're definitely going to want to check out the roadmap because there are a ton of entries. I'm going to hit these real just quickly, like one-liners of all the different things that are coming out, but these are all associated with PST files being supported for Outlook, new Outlook for Windows, hashtag new Outlook for Windows. So again, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of things or else we'd be here for the next hour, but just keep in mind, if you want more details, go look at the roadmap. So the first one, group messages as conversations for PST file. This is going to allow you to group messages as conversations for emails within a PST file. Then we've got exporting a mailbox to PST file or a specific mailbox folder to a PST file. Then we have, if we could export them, we should be able to import them. And yes, you're now going to be able to do that. You'll be able to import from a PST file to your Outlook for Windows, new Outlook for Windows. We have reply and forward emails in a PST file in new Outlook for Windows. So you'll be able to reply and forward emails that are sitting in that said PST file. We have auto export mailbox to PST file. So you'll be able to schedule an export of an entire mailbox, emails, calendar, and contact, or a specific mailbox folder. Read-only access to calendars within a PST file. So users will be able to browse and read calendars and events within a PST file. And as they said, it would be read-only access. Then we have forward as attachment emails. So this will be able to basically forward an email as an attachment in the PST file. We have profile cards in the new Outlook for Windows, display people details stored in PST files. We have add folders from a PST file to favorites in Outlook for Windows. As I told you, there's a whole lot of PST stuff going on this time. We have read-only access to contacts within a PST file in new Outlook for Windows. And then the final one that we have, which is PST related, and it's not PST related, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it anyway because I started it. Outlook, create and save email templates in the new Outlook for Windows. The email or the template feature in the new Outlook allows users to create and save email templates for quick and consistent communication, streamlining the process of sending repetitive emails. Additionally, it allows for the seamless import as templates saved as OFT files. So if you're using new Outlook for Windows, you've got stuff that's in PST files, you're wondering how you can make that work, you're going to be able to make that work now. All of these things look like they're coming out in May, June, May, August. So during the summer months, at some point, you're going to see these pop out for you and take a look and see what they can do for you.
So if you were counting, that was 14 PSTs. No, I'm kidding. I don't know, but it was a lot.
That was probably really close.
Just about. Adam, why don't you go into what's good, what's new, what's different?
So there's a couple nerdy things I like, but I'm afraid I'm going to take all of them because Tom just did like 80% of the list. It really was a very heavy PST list. But there are several things that I saw that were kind of cool. So I'll pick a couple, then stop and see if either of you guys want to talk about them as well. But a couple that really popped out to me. So first and foremost, I'll do an admin one that I see as a really big win. So MDM independent support for endpoint DLP for Mac OS devices. That's a very, big explanation for essentially Endpoint DLP is a product that more and more of my clients are starting to explore and use. The idea is essentially the same type of stuff you could do as DLP and the web or in your Office 365 app. So, hey, I want to make sure that people aren't accidentally sending out credit cards or sending out personal identifiable information. You can extend that type of support to files on your computer. So what it will basically go through and do is classify the files that you have on your computer and basically put like protections on them. You can say, hey, this document or this information has sensitive information that you probably don't want to be leaking out unintentionally. So we'll do stuff like if you deploy that for all of your employees, maybe they don't realize a certain file they're going to share has someone's social in it or bank account number in it or something. It will put protections on there so you can have the same type of stuff that you'd have at the boundary when you send email or share a file through 365 for the same files on your endpoint. Well, up until now, the only way you could get that protection on Macs was if you had full MDM deployment. So the Macs themselves being managed inside of Endpoint Manager. You had to essentially do it through like Intune or something like that. Well, the problem being, as I'm sure you guys probably know if you've ever tried to do it, if you're going to be managing a whole bunch of Macs as devices, Microsoft is probably not the first vendor you think to go through and do that. So it made this really kind of weird dichotomy where people use Microsoft for their corporate world. They have some Macs, but if you have a lot of Macs, you're probably doing something like Jamf or other tools like that. Well, what this is now going to allow you to do is you don't have to go all the way to full actually managing the device, but still be able to push out the endpoint DLP style functionality, which basically makes this widely more available for organizations and enterprises that have Macs inside of their system. And again, I know me and Tamara and Tom all work for specific industries that are probably more security conscious than a lot of the average companies out there, just due to the nature of the work that we do. But a lot of our customers are exploring and using this functionality. So I just see this as a huge win for Microsoft. It's one of the things that you could almost look past on the list if you hadn't gone through and spent a lot of time doing this. But extending that level of protection to where you can be looking for sensitive information or company specific information to all of the Macs that you have in your enterprise without having to, completely change your deployment and security management strategy for them is just a big win for Microsoft's part. And then I'll do one more and then I'll stop. There are multiple nerdy ones I like in here. But the other one that I saw that I thought was really cool that I wanted to talk about a little bit was going to be the new Teams. Actually, no, Tamara's going to do that one. I'm almost positive. So I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to wait. What I'll go through and say is this is all related to the new Outlook stuff that they're going through and doing that Tom talked about that was pretty cool. You see all the new features and everything coming out for that are going to allow people to go through and do stuff with it. Well, they actually have the ability going on as well too. Let me see if I can find what it was. And it was basically data security ingestion. So if you are a CISO or a security team that are working on top of 365, Microsoft, as they've continued to build out the Purview portal, has gone in and really invested into tools that give you single pane of glass views that you can get a really good understanding of what's going on across your organization. Well, they're actually going to be rolling out in June of this year what they call data security investigations, where it's going to be a centralized pane that you can find and mitigate the risks of sensitive data exposure, specifically related to generative AI powered deep content on your system. So as people go through and start looking at Copilot, and start looking through some of the generative AI stuff you can do inside of Azure and things like that, these are basically Microsoft upping their security tools and their security tools analysis to accompany that AI generation and AI power that you're going through and doing. And any company that's doing this should be doing this responsibly. So super excited to see this. And again, being the admin person of our group and the person who always has to worry about security, love to see Microsoft investing this alongside what they see as their potential future with AI and generative AI things. So I was really excited to see that. Tamara?
Fabulous. I like Microsoft Teams personal meeting templates. Now, this is available for Teams Premium. And what it means is you can create a personal meeting template that enables users to pre-save the meeting configurations, aka the meeting options, and schedule meetings quickly with one click. I love it because I have to schedule about 60 sessions a month, 60 meetings a month. And I always wanted to have the same settings And it's takes a long time for the meeting options to open and be able to make your choices and then save them. And so I'm really excited about this. Unfortunately, it's just coming to the commercial tenant, to the worldwide standard tenant, and will not yet be available in the higher levels of security tenants. But I'm waiting with bated breath.
There is something that's coming out to GCC and GCC High that I know you want to talk about, Tamara.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, there is.
I specifically didn't say this one because I knew that you were going to say it.
All right. Is it the new Microsoft Teams chat and channels experience?
Yeah. So, and for the context of the conversation, one of you guys want to explain what the new experience is versus the old experience?
Well, the new experience combines chats and channels together.
And Teams. So like you go into that one view and can see all of them. Yeah.
Right. Because you've got your channels, which is the Teams portion, and you've got your chats, which are one-off topics, not usually related to a team. And so this
I see it as formal and informal communication as well, too.
Good point.
There you go. Formal and informal. Things you want to keep track of, things that can go by the wayside.
Yeah, like so, my team has the chat where we post memes and GIFs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we have the team where we talk about, like clients' hours usage and things like that,
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we have two chats. We have fun time chat and we have tech chat. So, but this will allow you to access both chats and channels in one place. So it'll make it a little bit easier to catch up on chats, channels, and teams and create custom sections to organize conversations by topics using filters to triage messages and more.
I didn't like it for the first week I had it in commercial, but I kind of like it now. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
It took just a little bit of time. And fortunately, it does have some settings that you can change to where at one point it combines the two. But if you're like, I don't like them combined, you can split them back out.
Yeah, and getting used to the muscle memory of where to look for stuff.
Exactly.
Took me probably about a week. But now that I've gotten used to it, I think I like it better than it was before.
Right. So I would definitely experiment with it when it comes out and give it a little bit of time to grow on you.
Sorry for setting you up awkwardly for that one, Tamara.
No problem. That was great. That's coming out in May for GCC and June for GCC High and DoD.
Nice.
And then I think Adam should talk about this, but I'll touch on it and then Adam can comment. For Microsoft Teams, a migration tool for Teams. So customers will now be able to move content seamlessly from public and private channels in a third-party solution to Teams standard channels. A new first-party migration tool on Microsoft Admin Center is going to allow admins to connect third-party solution workspace, plan, and perform content migration to Teams. And that, I think, is coming out to everybody. Everybody gets the love. The worldwide standard tenant, GCC, GCC High, and DoD.
Yeah, I think bringing content from Slack.
Yeah, I was about to say this is their answer for people to be able to migrate Slack.
Okay,
that is 100% what this is, Tom. I think this is really interesting because if you would have come to Planet as a company a year ago, 2 years ago, and said, hey, we're wanting to move our system over, we need to get stuff going through, we'd say, great, we can plan this for you, it'll be awesome. And our entire strategy would have been based around moving over your files, moving over your email, going through and doing that. But because the concept of channels and communications and the workspaces were so new, there wasn't a lot of great tools for that. There are some third-party tools out there, but that's almost not even a workload we really considered and used. It was more just, you have this new framework, or start going through and doing that. And I can tell you from being involved in some of those conversations, some customers want to bring over what they were doing formerly in their communication with Slack. That is 100% what this tool is designed to do. It is providing a free version of the software that can go through and do it. Now, I'll be interested to actually go through and see how user-friendly this is. I don't know if either of you guys have had the experience of actually working with the SharePoint migration tool. It's okay. Not nearly as user-friendly as something like ShareGate.
ShareGate, yes.
Which has drag and drop interfaces and stuff like that.
ShareGate rules.
Yeah, or even not nearly as enterprise grade as something like God, I'm drawing a blank here. What is the premium version? By Avanade, AppPoint. There we go. Yeah. On going through and do that, like not nearly as enterprise great as that. I also thought it was really interesting. If anyone ever went through the experience of going through a fast track migration like 5 years ago, so Microsoft has changed what fast track is like 5 times. When it originally came out, the idea was they would basically give you engineering time to help you with your migration. But essentially what it was people on the back end, largely in India, if you want me to be honest, that were basically scripting the use of the SharePoint migration tool to move files. It wasn't any more user-friendly, but they were just writing scripts to go through and say, okay, Mr. Customer, you upload all of your files that you want to be migrated into this giant file storage on the back end, and then we'll script deploy this and a mapping of what file goes to what user, and then them just writing scripts to go through and do the migration using the SharePoint migration tool. So I'm really interested to see how user-friendly it's going to be, because like I said, my recommendation to people right now is, oh yeah, if you need to move a site, you need to move a small bit of stuff, and you don't want to invest, SharePoint migration tool, you can get it done with that. Oh, you need to move 30 sites? Oh, you need to move more by ShareGate. Like, just that's the answer. It's so much more user-friendly, so much easier to do. So I'm interested to see how user-friendly it is and how it works as an admin.
And ShareGate is fairly cheap too.
And all of us know people that work there. They genuinely seem like they treat their employees well, and they all care about what they do and stuff like that. So hard recommend.
Yes. Cool. There was one more that I wanted to bring up in development, then we'll open it up for anybody else with anything in development. And that's slide controls for presenters in Microsoft Teams. So meeting or event presenters can now share control of slides with fellow presenters, eliminating that manual slide changes, jumping from one deck to another, and maintaining smooth flow.
Tom, next slide.
Yeah, exactly. Next slide, please. Okay, and we're moving on. Hello, is this thing on?
Yeah.
Tap, tap.
And so it allows for a smooth flow during meetings or webinars. And that's coming out in May, and everybody gets some love.
Yeah, that was cool.
So I'm excited about that, because that's what I do for a living.
Tom, you did all the PSTs and haven't got to talk about any fun stuff from your side. What do you want to talk about, my friend?
There's only one more that I'll throw out here before we move on. And that is Outlook, large audience warnings in Outlook for iOS and Android. Yeah.
This is for the, hey, idiot, do you know how many people you're sending
pretty much,
to?
Are you really sure you want to send that? I don't think you do, but here's the rope. Go ahead, hang yourself.
Yeah.
Users are warned when they're emailing a large number of recipients, which can help them make the correct decision about wording, tone, and content.
Yeah, they say it so politely. Make the correct decision about wording, tone, and content.
It's funny because person I used to work really closely with, I would basically say, so, Sandra, I'm thinking I can do it this way, and this way. And she'd come back with, well, you could do it that way. And I consider this the you could do it that way warning before you actually make a mistake. I just wish this is something that was in the regular Outlook client, not necessarily iOS and Android, because to me, this is a really cool feature to go.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it is in the Outlook client.
Is it?
I don't
think
I've ever
seen it. I don't know about new Windows, but it's definitely in M365 when you're setting up a meeting.
Yeah, so when you're setting up a meeting, it'll let you know if you're sending to a lot of people. I don't know, like, if you're sending out an email, if it does. I'm interested. I don't know if I've seen that. For anyone that's a huge nerd like me, if you use Discord does a great job of this. Like, Discord has essentially app mentions, and Discord is kind of like a giant chat room. And if you're ever doing it and it's going to a large number of people, like, do you really want to send this message to 70 people? Like, are you sure? Like, do 70 people need to know what you're about to say? I have one more I wanted to mention briefly before we move on. I was on board with a large audience warning. So this is an Outlook one. It was the one I was looking for earlier and couldn't find, and pivoted to the security one. It's create and save email templates of the new Outlook for Windows. This is just nice. You could have always done this before, but if you have reoccurring things that you communicate on a lot, like let's say for your job, you end up emailing a lot and you have to email, you can basically put together templates that will load up that template for you on a click, and then you can just fill in the details, so you can have like I even do this some with our actual tickets for our customers, where we have templates saved that you can go and copy and then put it into a ticket. This is just going to make it one step easier, where you can save those templates essentially as like an email ready to go. You click on it and it will import that template into the email, and then you just fill out the parts you need to fill out or change or whatever for the specific thing. Or even I could see some stuff like, let's say you're like, you deal with information, you just have like a template typed up that has the answer to common thing. Just, okay, the person asked me how to do this, I'm going to send out the template to them. So I just see this as a convenience feature and kind of a time saver and kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like the old OTF.
Yeah.
OFT file?
OFT. In fact,
Yeah.
it even mentions it, I think, in the description.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, too. I think this follows a trend. The PSTs are very much along this line, too. I was not a fan of the new Outlook for Windows client when they released it, and it was missing a ton of features, which people were very vocal about. But they have clearly continued to invest time and development and energy to bring some of those missing features. They are clearly investing on this tool as it is the future of where they're wanting to go with their Outlook client. And again, props to Microsoft for that. I'm still not using it myself personally because I still like the old flow and feel. But as they continue to do stuff like this, they're making quality of life improvements that make it a more attractive option to switch to. I'm sure Tamara's in the same boat I am. The new Outlook for Windows doesn't work in GCC or GCC High, so 90% of our customers aren't using it. So half the reason I'm on the yeah, it is. But half the reason I'm on the old one is because that's what they're still using if I need to help them out with a problem. But it is nice to see this continued investment from Microsoft in the product.
Yes. In development, there are two other things that I want to touch on. Anyone else have anything they want to touch on?
No, we're good. Go for it.
Okay. OneDrive. It's a new folder. It's called Anyone Link Permission to View and Upload. So Microsoft is introducing a new view and upload permission for folder Anyone. And this links in the OneDrive admin sharing settings. So this feature allows tenants to restrict folder links to anyone can view while still enabling the request files functionality. Oh. It offers tenants a more granular control over content access and ensures compliance with internal policies and helps administrators maintain a higher level of data governance. Now that's coming out to everybody in June. That's the worldwide GCC, GCC High, and DoD. The last one I want to touch on in development is Microsoft Teams add a presenter from the participant roster in a town hall or webinar. This is great because we don't have this setting on the meeting options.
And you have the guests that you've invited to come on and join you, and they look at the email that went out to everyone and join that link, and they're not very technical compliant. Right. You're trying to explain to them, no, it's a different link that I sent you. It has a username and password. Yeah, so.
Yep. So, but organizers and presenters can quickly add missing presenter to an ongoing town hall or webinar by calling them directly from the participant roster. Now, once the missing presenter accepts the call, they instantly join as a presenter, automatically joining the green room if that's enabled. I hate the green room.
Yeah.
I just don't care for it. And added to
Tamara's a professional. She's ready to go live from the beginning. She doesn't need no green room prep.
I like to do the pre-show.
I've got my lipstick on. Let's talk.
Yeah, I have lips. Let's go. All right. Tom, do you want to get us started with rolling out?
Sure. There's only a couple that I will talk about really briefly.
Okay.
One is Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. LLM generated titles for Copilot chat sessions. So basically, when you're having a chat in Microsoft Copilot, a lot of times all it does is take the first phrase that you happen to type in, and that becomes the title of your chat for everything that gets saved. Here, what it's going to do is it's going to use the underlying large language model within Copilot to actually generate a title for you. So the description is easily locate your Copilot chat sessions with LLM generated titles. It'll be interesting to see how that works out, but having something that's more than I'm working on a ... that's not going to tell you a whole lot, where maybe it's like Learn how to do a replace expression. Okay, that I can go back and refer to. So that's good. That's rolling out now in March. Should be seeing it soon, worldwide tenant. And the other one is Outlook, message recall in the Outlook app for iOS and Android. So from the Outlook client for iOS and Android, you can request Outlook to attempt to recall a message sent to a colleague within your organization. Doesn't mean you're going to get it, but you can attempt to get that. That's rolling
That's like
out
being
in
a
March.
weather forecaster.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you can try it and you may get there and you may not. But that's coming out to regular, standard, and GCC high. So keep an eye open for that. Just remember, attempt is a very key word in this description, because if they've looked at it, if they've done something with it, you may not have the ability to recall it. So be really careful.
Adam, what are you looking at?
There's one. I'm only going to do one. I'll keep it nice and short. And this is really more of a PSA to everyone / a reminder that people are going to smile if they've ever done it. If you've been working and whatever that's used Outlook for the last 15 years, we've all had a colleague that's tried to recall a message that went out to way too many people and can vividly remember that experience. I remember this poor guy named Bo that I was friends with that sent out an email that was clearly partially complete. And like right after he sent it off, like immediately you then get the recall notice. But nerd moment. With how Outlook or with how Exchange was coded as a thing before, you couldn't really recall just with how email was originally developed. Like I write an email and then I give it to Tom. Once that letter is delivered to Tom's server, it's up to Tom's server what happens with it. Like I don't have any control of it. That's a little bit different now with Office 365 if we're both on Office 365 and stuff. But back in the day, like there's a handshaking process and then a handover. And so when they developed the message recall feature, what it really does is it goes over to, like I'm delivering email. I have a birthday or invitation for Tom. I give it to Tom, who's, Tom's mom takes it and says, "Oh, honey, you got a invitation to go to Adam's birthday party." I then have to retract the invitation. I basically have to go to Tom's mom and say, "Hey, I actually didn't mean to do that. We're changing the date. Can I pull back the email and give you another one?" But it's up to Tom's mom whether or not she actually does that. That's how email worked, basically. But so what happens is if someone goes through and tries to recall a message in traditional Exchange, everyone gets a giant pop-up on the window that says, "Blah, blah, blah is wanting to recall a message. Do you approve or agree to do this?" So if you've worked long enough, you all have that. But the new update that I have going along with this is they're going to have Outlook. Where is it specifically? I guarantee you there was a reason I said this. Somewhere in there. You can basically do recall messages coming up pretty soon for the new Outlook for Windows is going to be one of the things they're going through and doing. So everyone be aware that's coming out. I don't have the specific date on when they said it, but just know I'm sure everyone has had an experience of going through and trying to recall a message. And so there we go. It's Outlook Message Recall and Outlook app for iOS and Android. So coming out in March of this year, you're now going to be able to do it in the iOS or Android apps, but just know it's probably going to be the same thing. It'll ask people if they want to approve the recall of the message. So like if you ever say something bad, like if you want people to be like, "Oh man, why do they want to recall that message?" Because I guarantee the first thing everything's going to do is go and look at the message to see why it's being recalled. But that's coming out for Outlook and iOS basically this month. So
cool. I found 3 that tickled my fancy. One is Outlook, optional connected experiences privacy setting. So this rollout introduces the privacy setting for turn on optional connected experiences in Outlook on the web, which is available with other Office apps today. And the setting can be found under Setting, General, Privacy and Data, and under Privacy Settings. So that is coming out to
Worldwide
the
GCC.
standard tenant in GCC. The other thing that I thought was interesting is Outlook open previous email with email auto advance. Because when I start in the morning, I've got well, you can't see the bottom, man, but I've got a lot of email. So this interests me. So this feature allows users to automatically open the message above the current one in the message list after performing actions like moving or deleting the current message. Users can turn this behavior on in the email auto advanced mail setting. So it's not as cool as I thought it was going to be because you've got to move or delete it to have this functionality. And then Microsoft Teams custom meeting branding support multiple meeting themes per customization. So admins can now create and assign multiple meeting themes to a customization policy in the Teams admin center. This is going to allow the organizers who are assigned to a customization policy the ability to select from different meeting theme options while scheduling their meeting. Note, this feature requires a Teams premium license. But the cool thing is it's rolling out to everybody, GCC, GCC High, and the DoD.
Woohoo.
Anyone else have anything in rolling out they want to talk about?
I'm good for launch.
All right, let's go into launch. Tom, what do you have?
One thing that I've seen work its way through all the different levels, and I still keep thinking I will probably never use that. But Microsoft Copilot in Excel with Python for web. Use an everyday language, ask Copilot to perform advanced analytics that would usually take you hours, or in my case, is beyond your skill set, like machine learning, predictive forecasting, and more. So Copilot will actually write that Python code for you and insert it on the grid, resulting in deeper insights and stunning visuals. So this is something where if you want to do visualizations and things directly in Excel without necessarily having to go to Power BI, the ability to do and use Python for that, which apparently has some really cool libraries that allow you to do this. Don't ask me for any details because I don't know. But you're going to be able to actually tell Copilot, hey, I want to get a graph that does this, this, and this. It's actually going to go out and build the Python code, which is very similar to what you see when you're in ChatGPT and you ask it to do something. A lot of times if it has to go generate the code to go get you the answer, that code is usually being generated in Python. So they're kind of bringing that kind of capabilities into Copilot and Excel. And yeah, that might be able to give you some really cool stuff directly in Excel without, again, having to go to Power BI to get some of those things and use that second layer on top of everything.
Have either of y'all tried to use any of the large language models to help with coding?
Yes, I have.
I've used it to troubleshoot some JSON formatting. Do you count that as coding?
Kind of. I've had
You got to use the keyboard to write it.
I've had very mixed success with it. I don't know what your experience have been, Tom. Specifically, it really likes to pick out and use one like deprecated modules that are no longer supported. And I've also had it just like make up commands that, as far as I can tell, don't actually exist and be like, yeah, this code works great if this made up thing actually worked, but that's not a command.
Right. So the thing that I see, because a lot of times I'll be trying to do a Power App form, and I need a formula that will do X, Y, Z. And I'll sit there and say, I am generating a Power App form where I have to take the information in field X, and based on that, I need to have it fill that into field Y on the form. What is the expression that would do that? And where is the property that I would put that? Oh, here you go, da, 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 da. And I try it. And a lot of times at the first pass, it's like, I'm sorry, but I'm getting an error in that formula. Do you have another recommendation? Oh, sorry about that. Try this instead. And rarely do I have to go like more than just the back and forth a single time. But keeping in mind, Copilot is a conversation. So it's not just like, I didn't get the right answer, I'm done. Just tell it, I'm sorry, but what I really wanted was this. All that then comes into play for what you get.
Yeah, but sometimes with large language models, I feel like it's a conversation with a drunk child.
I'm not saying it's wrong. It's like a panda, you're talking to the panda and the panda stumbles and rolls down the hill and you think, oh, that's cute. Didn't give me what I wanted though. But still, in terms of, I could sit there and try to search the web to find something that was kind of close and then to extrapolate. But when I use Copilot, it's telling me, okay, here's what the formula would look like in this particular area. And at least it gives me that initial step instead of going, I don't even know what to ask for yet. So
and
I found
caveat,
really well.
I do not have a lot of experience talking to drunk children, just for the record. That was just an
Which
analogy.
may be a problem. You might want to do prompt engineering for drunk children. It's the Coursera course. You can handle that. But yeah, I have found that it has saved me a ton of time in some of the InfoPath to Power App form migrations I've been doing, where it's like, I know this can be done. I just haven't done it before, and I'm not quite sure how to structure that. And it's been really helpful.
Tamara, do you have anything from launch? We only had a couple things to pick from. Nothing super exciting to me.
No.
Well, I think we can wrap it up. Either? No, nothing uncanceled.
All right, fabulous. Adam's right. We've got nothing under canceled. Launch was sparse. In fact, the Outlook auto advancing that I talked about in rolling out is actually in launched. It's a duplicate, but a different ID number. So we didn't catch that one.
Isn't it? Yeah. Didn't even notice that.
That is launched. That should be in your environment. It went out to everybody.
Maybe, or it might be in rolling out. It's one of the two.
Or it might be in rolling out.
One of them is accurate, though.
All right. Well, that concludes this session of the Microsoft Pulse. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you join us next week when we'll go through more new and changed items on the Microsoft roadmap. Thanks, everybody, and have a good day.
Bye, all.
Bye.